Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood. One of those things where two best friends get together and talk about the films they've watched and go into a whole bunch of detail about utter bullshit. But anyway, well, that's my end of things. But so anyway, for those of you who have no idea who we are, my name is Dan.
And I'm Frankie.
And so, look, what is going on? I mean, the last 2 weeks, the Olympics have stolen you away. Like, normally, I'm looking on Letterboxd, you got like 5 movies a day, give or take, that you're logging on there. But lately, it's just been all about boxers that may or may not have a penis, and pole vaulters who definitely have a penis, and child rapists, and all of the fun of this year's Olympics.
Yeah, and I've been avoiding all of that, like just like the internet. I'm in my own like nice little bubble part of the Olympics, and just also being away from social media and news and everything, so I wouldn't get spoilers. So right. I kind of just got bits and pieces of those viral moments.
Yeah, so you and I have been appreciating the Olympics from two completely different perspectives. On your side of things, you're all about the sport and the hot German hockey players and stuff like that. Whereas I'm like, oh my God, the internet has absolutely erupted over disinformation that everyone foolishly believed. And I haven't looked into what this whole thing is about this pole vaulter's penis yet, but that sounds interesting.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah.
He hit the bar.
Yeah, from what I've heard, he's got 2 rather large poles. But anyway, so what have been some of the highlights of you and your Olympic journey over the last few days?
Well, my main thing has been the hockey, because I used to play hockey, so I like that sport, even though that is really shocking to some people. I think they just barely believe it's a sport, and also go straight to ice hockey when you say it, and ice hockey's not in the Olympics.
No.
And so, but yeah, anyway, the Olympics is my main chance to watch a lot of it and to be able to see all the games. I think some things get live streams, like other events, but they're usually live, so hard to catch. But yeah, so it's pretty good. I support 3 countries, so that was a lot of games.
Wow.
I had to watch mini matches for some. New Zealand, because that's where I'm from. Australia, because that's where I'm now from. And Germany, because Germany is my, like, perhaps I was German in a past life, because I've always felt an affinity with Germany. And
hopefully not around the late 30s, early 1940s.
Yeah, hopefully not. Well, I'm sure it was during a good time, because so I still have, that connection and whatever. So
so you've heard it here first, everybody. Frankie was Ava Brown in a past life. That's basically what I took away from all of that.
So but it kind of it got all up to date today. I just finished the quarterfinals today. Germany. The quarterfinals for the women are still going, but as far as the men's teams, Germany's the only team I follow that made it. New Zealand lost all their games. Australia lost in the quarterfinal, so they're out. Germany made it, so they're going to be in a medal match, the semi-finals tonight, I think, or overnight, to see which medal match they go in. So they are my last hope. The women, New Zealand didn't qualify. The quarterfinals are happening, so I'll have to see how Australia and Germany do in those. Right. They've been doing all right so far. So, but yeah, so cool. My Olympic watching slows down now, because the main sports, I've still got to catch up on things I recorded and haven't watched yet, like the rowing. That's where New Zealand does well generally in the Olympics, and I've got bits and pieces of swimming, gymnastics, diving. Stuff like that. So, but yeah, a lot less now. So my movie watching can come back. I think I have 2 dips. I'll have 2 dips in the year, because I've hardly watched anything these last 2 weeks. And the last time I didn't watch movies was back in March when I got COVID. So in Letterboxd, where they show the little bar graph for every week, I'll have these 2 dips.
Oh wow, yeah, no, it's been really weird, like seeing such a lack of activity from you, but no, that's cool that you have this thing that you're into.
Yeah,
and can
it's
appreciate.
once every 4 years, so
Yeah, sounds like my sex life. But anyway, well, apart from the excitement of the Olympics, we've had a few trailer drops in the last couple of weeks as well that we've been a little bit excited about. Especially, well, I don't know which one I'm actually more excited about. There's the new trailer for Joker 2, and there's also a new Kevin Smith film called The 4:30 Movie. Yeah, which one grabbed you the most? I guess
Well, it's hard to say because Joker 2 obviously had the amazing teaser, and I've been excited about that for ages. Whereas the Kevin Smith movie, I didn't even know that was coming out until I saw someone post about the trailer. So it was kind of like I watched it as soon as I found out it even existed. So...
Oh, yeah. No, I was the same. I actually, with Joker 2, as much as I appreciated the new trailer, I actually thought the teaser was more interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The teaser was amazing.
Right. And then I sort of engaged in discourse with several people who were like, "Ooh, this isn't Harley Quinn. Like, how can they change her origin and all of this bullshit?" And I'm just sitting there like, okay, people, like, just open your minds. This is not rewriting what has come before it. This is just a different version of it, like comic books have been doing for decades. I mean, when I kind of really got into comics in the 90s, DC was bringing out a series called Elseworlds, and it had like, what if Batman was a pirate, or there was a Batman story where it was in the 40s where he was like a noir detective in a trench coat and, things like that. And it's like, okay, like this is just a cool version of it, that you can just appreciate in the moment. Like, it doesn't mean that everything else has been thrown out the door. So yeah, all these people are jumping on like, oh, this is not my Harley Quinn and everything. It's like, well, just
I've
give
heard
it a
that
chance.
for Joker too. Everyone's like, yeah, this guy can't go up against Batman. And I know Joaquin Phoenix has even come out and said, yeah, he's not. Like, this is a different story.
Exactly. It's, I don't know why.
I did see someone give the theory that maybe the, like, real Joker was inspired, like, in this universe, inspired by Arthur to
no,
go
that's
with that. So,
well, then it would sort of make, because Batman or Bruce Wayne is a child in these, so that would kind of work for that theory. But yeah, no, I don't get it. I just, as we've mentioned before, people just love to hate things way too much instead of just having a good time. But yeah, so the thing with the Kevin Smith trailer was really weird for me because I can't forget my version of myself from the 90s, which when I first saw Clerks, it had that big an impact on me that I was absolutely obsessed with everything to do with Kevin Smith. And keeping in mind, it was a lot easier back then because, the dude was just making one film every couple of years. And, we didn't, I mean, this was before the internet, so it was just basically what you could read in magazines and stuff, and even when the internet came about, like, that was where I got on and got to meet Jason Mewes. I actually got to speak to him on the phone. I had contact with Kevin and all this sort of stuff, and like, I mean, oh my God, I was that obsessed, and so over time, my love of his films hasn't diminished in any way, but, I have shed that obsession. I'm no longer like, oh my God, I've got to find out what he had for breakfast this morning. I'm not actually kidding. It was probably that bad. And so, yeah, this trailer comes out. Like, I saw he had posted it, I think, on Facebook or something. And I'm like, wait, what? The dude's got a new movie? And so checked it out. And yeah, it looks so good. I like that it's not a Jay and Silent Bob film. He's like done something different, but at the same time, it's like a more kind of traditional comedy. I mean, he's done all these weird. Well, I mean, like have you seen Red State? The film that he did, that was really good. But then he's done things like Tusk and Yoga Hoses, which I haven't even seen. I've seen Tusk. That was weird. He's done some like really weird sort of things. So it's nice to see him coming back to, like a more normal film, if you will. But I liked seeing, the return of a lot of regulars like, Rosario Dawson's in it. His daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, is in it. That was really cool. But Yeah, it just looks like it's got like a cute sort of a plot and everything. And yeah, I'm on board. I'm really looking forward to this film a lot. So yeah. So there you go. So yeah, those were trailers. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want to get stuck into the movies we've been watching, or did you want to get into this fortnight's Nobbins?
Well, yeah, let's get this question thing done because I failed so hard. So.
Oh, come on. No, you didn't. Well, I don't know. Maybe you did. All right. So as we try to do every fortnight, we try to come up with a question or a scenario, to come up with an interesting answer / story to it. And this time around, once again, our very good friend Charlie Nobbins, who we should get on the podcast one episode. We should actually get him on board this thing, I reckon. What do you think?
Yeah.
It would be really cool. So anyway, he's come up with another one. So I'm going to read this out. This is kind of a continuation from the last episode where he basically, there was a witch who was going to give us unlimited funds to... Sorry?
We've had her around for 2 episodes.
Well, we have, yeah. But this is kind of
specifically
continuing from the last one. This theoretical witch, who I'm actually really starting to like. She makes our lives very good. She last time gave us unlimited funds to create a movie and bring people back from the dead if we wanted, and any movie that we wanted to make. So this time around, he's written... Your films have been made, released, and are smash hits. The Witch, getting 50% of the back-end profits, is extremely happy with you both. Thank you, Witchy. As a result, she is going to let you remake 3 movies of your choice with an unlimited budget. Which movies will you remake, and what changes will you make? With the Witch's powers, you can once again choose any crew member or actor from any era for your remake. You could choose the original crew and make story changes if you like, or go full out and change a number of things. Now, initially, I thought this was going to be rather tricky, and so I said, should we just do one movie? And you were just so pumped up. You're like, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no, dog. We're going to do 3. I was like, all right. So I've done 3, and you found it a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, well, it was too hard. My brain doesn't work anymore, and
that's totally
I can't think of changes. I've only got one, and I have probably crappy obvious choices. It's pretty much just, hey, let's just do this movie with a different cast because it's too hard.
It's all right. That's everybody who's listening to this is riveted right now. And
my first thought, I was excited because I was like, hell yeah, I'm remaking The Lost Boys, and then I
nearly did that.
But then wow. I had one instant casting straight away, and then I thought about the rest, and I'm like, oh, it's too hard. My brain's not working.
Who was your instant casting for that one?
Well, he's in all my movies. Kyle Gallner as David.
Right.
Because I think he'd be really good at doing those looks that Kiefer did. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at The Lost Boys, and I kind of thought, I mean, it's obviously not a movie that needs to be remade because it's perfect as it is.
You can say that about all of my favourite movies. Most of my favourite movies.
But it would be fun just to kind of see a new, take on it, if you will, and
So I would keep Corey Feldman because
you'd have to.
He's perfect in that role. I love his Rambo voice thing that he was doing. So I couldn't recast his role.
Oh no! All right. So what have you come up with? What is the film that you?
Well, because it's so hard, and I picked The Breakfast Club.
Oh,
because you have your
one.
Just obvious character types in that.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that was kind of fun to think about, except I haven't. So, I didn't write down any characters, but
no, that's all right.
Judd Nelson's role, I'll give the descriptions that were on the back of the Criterion release. Mm-hmm. The foul-mouthed rebel. That's my role for Carl Gallner, who, because that's him.
Yep.
Emilio, the stoic jock. I will give that to Robert Redford.
Oh, okay.
I think, when you look at him when he was young, he has that cool jock kind of.
Yeah. No, that's a great choice.
Anthony, the virginal bookworm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got to be Jesse Eisenberg.
I love how you're like, it's got to be Jesse Eisenberg.
I mean, he's kind of got out of it now, but that's his kind of character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that's a good choice.
And I struggled a bit. I had a Molly, but then I was trying to think of for Ali Sheedy, and that's a harder one to do and get right. And yeah, I don't know. So I moved my Molly to Ali, Emma Stone, because Emma.
Yep.
So she's the kooky recluse, and then Molly, the popular girl
with dandruff.
So
that's the one thing I remember about her character was the dandruff scene. But anyway,
let's go Keira Knightley.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, no, that's not a bad choice. Yeah, she could do that role. Cool. All right. So no director. You know who you should pick for it? Kevin Smith. Because John Hughes was his biggest inspiration getting into filmmaking. Like, he actually references John Hughes's films in all of his earlier stuff, including The Breakfast Club. Like, yeah, so I reckon Smith should have a shot at that. What do you reckon?
I don't know.
You sound so enthusiastic.
I can't make decisions.
No, that's fair enough. All right. Well, look, I'm going to stick with my 3. I know you only had 1, but I poured my heart and soul into this project. And no, it's more the fact that I actually got my homework done this week. So, just let me have this. So the first movie that I have chosen, it's one that you haven't seen. So this is going to go completely over your head. So just let me have this moment with the listeners who have seen this and potentially are big fans of this film, as I was when I was a small child. I love this film, but I really think, and I'm against remakes in general, but I think this one could really benefit from more that, and that is 1979's The Black Hole, which was a sci-fi Disney film that had a really creepy kind of borderline horror element to it. Like, I just think, that film, I still love it, but every time I watch it, I'm kind of like, man, just imagine this film with, an updated sort of...
You just made me think of something I wish I'd thought of before.
Oh, what was that?
The Langoliers.
Oh, okay, yeah,
because that would benefit from a remake because it has... Basically, there's people on a plane. Everyone disappears off the plane except for these handful of people, and they can hear the sound of something getting closer, and it was the creepiest sound. But then when you finally find out what's making the sound, it's just such a letdown. But making it now with like CGI where it is now and everything, it could have the payoff that it needs that the 90s effects could not do. So that would have been a fun one, but oh well. Anyway.
Well, there you go. There's a second film for you. And by all means, if you think of anything else as you're going through, and please interject and say, "Oh, I thought of another one." Okay, so with my remake of The Black Hole, I am casting for the primary role of Captain Dan Holland. I'm casting George Clooney. Because it was Robert Forster in the original, and he was a very sort of, very take charge kind of a captain, but, had a kind nature to him and stuff, and I'm just thinking, George Clooney, absolutely, he could nail that role. For Dr. Kate McRae, who was played by Yvette Mimieux, I don't know. It's French. I know every time we do these casting things, I make a joke about like, ooh, Margot Robbie. But no, really. This time I'm actually casting Margot Robbie because...
Hey, I have Carl Gellner in all my films. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you get unlimited power to bring on the people that you want, why not use it?
Exactly. No, I just actually think she would work really well with this cast, and especially like, you know, George Clooney, Margot Robbie, I think would be like really great together. For Charlie Pizer, who was kind of the young, brash, gung-ho kind of action hero of the bunch, I am casting Zac Efron in this one. Are you actually looking at the cast of Black Hole right now? Or?
Yeah, I did a image search, so I'm seeing pictures
Okay,
from
this is good. This is good. I can't remember the actor who played Pizer in the original, but yeah, I'm going with Zac Efron for this one. Okay, you're gonna love this. So, Dr. Alex Durant in the first one, who was played by Anthony Perkins, he's sort of like, you know, he was this very deep, serious science kind of a guy, but I don't know, like, I always thought that he kind of had a bit of a weirdness to him, and so for that reason I'm casting Crispin Glover in this role, because honestly, man, he would be so freaking cool in that role, I think. So, and let's face it, the dude just doesn't get enough big roles these days, so... for, I think it was Harry Booth? Yeah, Harry Booth, who was played by Ernest Borgnine in the original. I am this time around casting Jack Nicholson. Because, yeah, his sort of character was like, I don't know, just an observer sort of a guy, but in the middle of the film he does something catastrophically stupid, which basically like condemns the whole crew and everything. And yeah, I just think Nicholson would be really cool in that. Now, if you've got your Google open, I want you to have a look at Dr. Hans Reinhardt, who was the main villain of the film, who was played by Maximilian Schell in the original. And he was, as a kid, I found him terrifying. He's a absolutely insane scientist, but like when you first meet him, he seems really pleasant and normal, but he just has that mannerism like there's something underneath, you know, like you just
looks
know
like a dark magician.
Exactly. And then as the film goes on and his lunacy is revealed and he becomes, oh man. So I'm casting Brad Dourif in this role because, I mean, come on, who better to do, you know, evil insanity, but, you know, coming from kind of a nicer nature, like, yeah, oh my god, he'd be so good in that. For the two robots, Vincent and Old Bob, who were voiced by Vincent was Roddy McDowell and Old Bob was, I think it was Slim Pickens. He sort of had like a country twang, but for Vincent, I'm actually gender swapping. Oh, controversy. Because Vincent was a real freaking smartass. Like, but, you know, an intellectual smartass, you know, not just like a jokey sort of a smartass. So I'm casting Aubrey Plaza in that role as the voice of, well, I don't know, they'll probably have to change the name of the robot, I guess, because Vincent's rather a masculine name, but... yeah, so I'm casting her, and for Old Bob, I am going with Morgan Freeman on that one because, yeah, he was sort of a, you know, wise old robot, and yeah, I just think Morgan Freeman's voice, I mean, let's face it, Morgan Freeman's voice is you know, the glue that holds the world together, so there you go. And as far as my director goes, I'm going with Paul W.S. Anderson because if I want to sort of enhance the horror sci-fi element, who better than the guy who did Event Horizon? I mean, yeah, they even actually mentioned the phrase Event Horizon in the original Black Hole because it is actually the edge of the black hole is called the Event Horizon. So yeah, that's my like dream imaginary cast for a remake of that film.
That's been on my list for years to watch because everyone talks about it, and it was meant to be one of the first movies I watched when Disney Plus started. Right, yeah. Still haven't got to it yet.
Oh, it is actually brilliant, especially the score. I mean, the score in this film is phenomenal. I would say it's one of the best movie scores of all time. Look, when it came out, I was 6 years old, and so I was the prime target for that film, and it was riding on the coattails of Star Wars. It actually, in a lot of ways, it actually ripped Star Wars off. Like, instead of the Force, they have ESP. Like some of the characters can, telepathically. There you go, not telepathetically. They can communicate with each other and sense things and stuff. And it's like, yeah, Star Wars came out 2 years ago, didn't it? I would get rid of the ESP stuff. I just think that was a complete crock of shit. But but no, I was obsessed with it. I had so much merchandise and the book on tape, and I had this weird thing. It was an LP. If for all of you going back, an LP was a 12-inch record. That had, it wasn't like a narrated story of the film or whatever. It was actual dialogue clips from the film, like, going through, and like a big, the LP cover opened up and it had like all these photographs from the film that you could sort of look at as you're going along. But that was a really weird thing, like just the movie on an LP, really. So yeah, no, oh my God, I had so much stuff. I was really obsessed with it. But like I said, I think a remake would be really, really cool. Look, my next two, I've raved on about that one long enough. I'm just going to go very quickly. The next movie I had lined up for a remake was Green Lantern, because, yeah, the original one with Ryan Reynolds, which, wasn't from that long ago, but I liked it because I am a Green Lantern super fan, but if I wasn't, I might have been able to be more critical of it. But there was one guy who, back in the 90s, so we're going to have to use the witch's powers to reverse time and go back and cast this guy when he was like his 90s version. So of all the Green Lanterns, the one that I came into was a guy named Kyle Rayner, who was kind of the second Green Lantern who took over from Hal Jordan. And this guy was an artist and stuff, just a really sort of cool guy with dark hair and everything. And I always saw Ron Livingston in the role. I just thought looked like a perfect Kyle Rayner at the time. Of course, now he's like in his late 50s or something. Plus, he's been Barry Allen's dad in The Flash, so, that just wouldn't work out. But I would cast him in that role. For his girlfriend, who basically, once he got his powers and wasn't taking it seriously, his girlfriend, Alexandra DeWitt, was kind of an inspiration to him and sort of helped him grow up and, take his job more seriously and stuff, until she got murdered by a villain named Major Force and stuffed into a refrigerator, which basically was the pivotal moment when Kyle Rayner kind of snapped and was like, right, I need to take this seriously. So I'm casting Alice Eve in that role because, of course, we watched her recently in that movie that we watched before we go. That was it. So yeah, and I was sort of looking at comic pictures of her, and I thought, yeah, I could see Alice Eve in that. And for Major Force, I'm casting Conor McGregor based on his role in Roadhouse, where he was like just such a intimidatingly scary, insane villain. Yeah, I think he would be really cool in that. And for the director, I've gone Edgar Wright, because I would just love to see him do a comic book movie like that. I know he's done, like Scott Pilgrim and things like that, but yeah, I think he would be really cool in this. And I've got the last one I've picked. It's a movie that probably not too many people are going to know, but it is one that I lent you in my pile of here's some movies to get to know me, and that is 1985's Hard Rock Zombies, which was a story of a group of metal musicians who wind up oh god, what was the story? They wind up picking up this hitchhiker and they end up at a place which is like a compound of where all these Nazi German people are, including Hitler himself, who's not actually dead, and they wind up all getting killed, but then they come back to life because they recited passages from this book. Oh, look, it's everything you would expect from a film called Hard Rock Zombies. So just quickly, I've gone through. I'm bringing one of them back from the dead. So I'm casting actual musicians in this thing. 3 of which have actually done movies. I've got Janie Lane, who was the singer from Warrant. Rest in peace. I've got him in the lead role because he has actually acted before and he's actually pretty good. So there you go. I've got my favorite guitar duo of John Five and Nita Strauss because I thought let's have a female in the band. Like they didn't do that in the original one because it was the 80s. We didn't have women in bands. I've cast Flea as the bass player because of course he has quite a lot of movies under his belt. Actually, I'm bringing 2 people back from the dead. Taylor Hawkins, I'm bringing as the drummer because he was so freaking cool in Studio 666. So, again, we've seen him in a movie. So, yeah, that's my band. In the role of Adolf Hitler, I've cast Anthony Hopkins because I was trying to think of someone and I thought, what about Hopkins? And I looked at pictures of him and I was like, he would actually make a pretty cool Hitler, I think. So,
cool Hitler.
yes, he would. I mean, by all means, tap into your past life and tell me what you think of that casting choice. And then for the female love interest, Cassie, whoever played her in the original had gigantic eyebrows. She was like really not very pleasant to look at. So this time round I've cast Sydney Sweeney in the role of Cassie because not only do I want someone who looks hideous, but you don't want someone who can really act, like in this kind of movie. Oh. In this kind of movie, you want someone who's just going to phone in a really wooden performance.
She's a good actor. I know you have issues with her looks, but she is a good actor. Anyway,
I know you're just doing that for
box office.
No, I have not seen any of the films where she can act, so... but that's on me.
I think you're just blinded by your weirdness about her face that you're just not seeing.
Well, it's not only that. It's probably because I tend to avoid her films, so I haven't really got much to... I mean, what have I got? I've got Madam Web and... that nun movie that she was in, I mean, I don't know. Now, originally I had Tim Burton picked as a director for this because can you imagine Tim Burton directing a movie about a rock band who comes back from the dead to fight Hitler? I mean, that would be insane. But if you want to go a different route, I could go with Eli Roth because, when it comes to really sick, twisted films... with kind of a fun nature, I think Eli's a good choice for that. So, so those are my 3 choices that I have for my remakes. So there you go. Round of applause, everybody. Yay! Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I like your cast. I have no idea about the movies because I haven't seen any of them, but...
yeah, well, there you go. But for the 3 listeners out there who are like, oh my god, yeah, Black Hole, I love that movie, and
Black Hole is a well-known one.
Oh yeah, so is Hard Rock Zombies, but no, it's not. I was going to say if anyone out there is actually going, oh my god, Hard Rock Zombies, I love that film, please get in touch with us. I want to hear from you. Just Google us, you'll find us. So please leave comments. Email us. Come round to my house. I'll give you my address. And we'll watch Hard Rock Zombies together. Please come to my house. I'm desperate for friends. No, I'm not really. All right. Well, let's get stuck into what we've been watching that is non-Olympics related in the last couple of weeks. You can go first because I've talked enough.
Well... I may not have watched many, but I have watched one that was really, really, really good.
Oh. Was it Hard Rock Zombies?
No. Oh. Which you should know because I just said I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I wasn't listening. Come on.
I finally watched When a Man Loves a Woman.
Ah, right.
And I don't know about you, but every time I see that title, I get the song in my head.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And... that plays over the opening of the movie. So I loved that you just think about the song and it plays over the opening and you're like, okay, good. Now that's done. We can get on with the movie. But yeah, this was great because it's has a really cute opening scene that sets up Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan as this perfect couple who are like amazing together, and they have their 2 daughters and everything's nice.
Oh.
And so you get really like into their relationship, and then you start the plot of the movie is that she is an alcoholic, and it's like realizing that, and she gets treatment for it and how it affects the family and everything.
Right.
But like I expected this would be the typical movie of like following her journey through like rehab and dealing with it and all of that. But the title gives it away. When a man loves a woman, it's almost like from his perspective more. It's
okay.
not, but it focuses on the family and dealing with it. When she goes in for treatment, there's pretty much the scene where she gets there, a scene when she's detoxing, and a scene when her family comes to visit her, and then that's it. And the movie's about her just dealing with life after she's returned and everything. But it's just such an amazing movie. I don't know if it's because Andy Garcia in this, he's like perfect man material, pretty much. And so that and like their family and the 2 actresses playing the young daughters were really good for being like child actors. So I think being so invested meant all the like hard hitting bits like really got to me, because I was so invested in like wanting them to do well and be happy and get on with their life and not like have it destroy everything and whatever. But crazy scenes at the beginning with her drinking and what happens when she's like completely wasted, and there's like this really big scene that kind of pushes her in to get treatment because it endangers herself and her daughter. And I cried multiple times.
What? Wow.
From scenes in this movie. There's like a couple in particular. There's a speech, well, not a speech, but Andy Garcia goes to these meetings and finally talks at one of them, and what he said made me cry. And then there's scenes where he's talking to his daughters that made me cry. One of the daughters is not like his biological daughter, it's from her previous relationship, so there's like stepdaughter stepdad dynamics as well as the other daughter that is his. So you've got the 2 different kind of relationships happening there. And and then the end. Like I thought I started watching this a bit late, and I was like, I might have to turn it off and finish it tomorrow because it's a bit late. But I got so invested, and I'm like, what's going to happen? How's it going to end? And so I had to like stay up and finish it because I had to know how it was going to end. So amazing movie. Really, and what's really sad is it doesn't have a Blu-ray release.
Oh.
And I looked it up, and it's I think it's Touchstone Pictures, which is Disney. So very unlikely it's going to get a release. Although I know that thing with Sony sort of taking over physical releases for Disney stuff. There's talk that maybe they'll be able to go into the vault and get things. So
right.
Hopefully,
yeah,
someday.
But it's obviously streaming on Disney Plus then, I take it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, no, that sounds intriguing. I might have to watch that. Well, I have seen a few films. Well, actually, the first one on my list, though, is one that you've also watched. So I might skip that one for now. But I did finally manage to go and see Deadpool and Wolverine, believe it or not. I know.
Well, I have something related to that, so...
Yes, you do. That's your 1 and 2 films. Yeah. Yes, no, we managed to. Well, look, honestly, we just like drove down there and left the newborns in the car for a couple of hours. That'll be fine. We cracked a window open. We left some water in there. Not that they can actually drink it because they can't hold things, but the thought was there, So no, I should just no, we did actually have people minding the kids, just in case people are listening, going, did he really do that? Anyway, no, look, I as I have mentioned many times, this was arguably my number one most anticipated movie of this year because oh my god, there are just no words to describe how much I loved the first Deadpool. You shush. The second one for me was, God, it was so close to that level of awesomeness. I nearly there. And so yeah, this one I just thought, oh my god, bringing both Deadpool and Wolverine, bringing Hugh Jackman back into the role, oh wow, this is going to be the greatest time ever. And yeah, I liked it. It was fine. Yeah, it definitely wasn't the movie that I was hoping to see. Not expecting, because, I don't know what to expect. But yeah, from the start, I was on board. I was like, oh my god, yep, this is the, typical Deadpool film quirkiness that we get. It didn't have amazing opening credits, unfortunately, so that was sorely missed. Particularly, the James Bond ripoff of the second film. I mean, that was absolutely peak Deadpoolness. So yeah, it started off really well, and then as it's sort of going on, it was about the midpoint of the film or so where the characters kind of wind up in a particular place. I'm not going to sort of, give too many spoilers away or anything. Things just kind of, I don't know, it really lost steam for me. It just became, I wouldn't say too serious, because you can't really have sort of serious in a Deadpool film, but, just there were a lot of scenes that kind of dragged a little bit. And then, there's one moment where they bring back a whole bunch of legacy Marvel characters from, movies from years ago, that weren't, before the MCU came out. And, it was fun seeing them, but, it was kind of are they there for a purpose in the story, or are they just there for people to go, oh my god, look, it's that person? And yeah.
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
That's what a lot of people said about The Flash.
Yeah, but I would argue that those characters were there to serve the story. Yeah, I really would argue that. But no, you're right. But no, this time round, okay, the way I'm looking at it, if these characters were taken out of the film, would it have still, been able to keep going with its story? And yeah, it absolutely would. So yeah, the cameos were fun, but yeah, just, I don't know, it kind of lost me about halfway through up until the end, and I was sort of yeah, it's good, Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly not like I was with Long Legs, where I was oh my god, I need to go and see that movie again, right now. This one, I'm kind of yeah, I can wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. I mean, I'll buy it. I've got the steelbooks of the first two films. I probably won't have the steelbook of this one. Although Kylie's brother said to me, well, no, you've got to get the steelbook to have all three.
Matching set. Yeah.
Exactly. And part of me is yeah, I'm totally getting the steelbook, aren't I? God damn it. I was a bit disappointed, though, because there were limited 3D screenings around my area. But they were only showing them in regular size screens, and I was sort of for this movie I want the biggest screen possible, and so I had to forsake 3D for a larger screen. But yeah, I don't know, 3D might have been fun with that one, but oh well. Anyway, but look, I didn't dislike it by any means. It was fine.
I know it's been getting very mixed reviews, but I mean that's standard for Marvel film anyway, and comic book films in general. But
yeah, true, but it is doing phenomenally at the box office.
Well, of course. I mean,
I love how because it's in America, it's surpassed Passion of the Christ as the highest grossing domestic released R-rated film. And so it's not a huge spoiler, but in the film, Deadpool refers to himself as Marvel Jesus. And
that joke is in the second one. About Passion of the Christ. Yeah, because I just watched it today.
Okay, right. Oh, man, I didn't remember that. But, well, it's even more so in this one because, he's talking about resurrecting the MCU and all this sort of stuff. But, there's all these memes now about how Marvel Jesus is outgrossing real Jesus, which I thought was great. But, yeah. Anyway, that's enough about Deadpool. Wolverine, over to you.
So I watched the first 2 Deadpool films because
Yay! And you're like,
I'd never seen them.
God, you're absolutely right. Dan and everyone else in the world, they were the best movies I've ever seen. All right. No. Moving on to my next one. No. Oh, damn it. All right. Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's go.
Yeah, Deadpool, didn't really like it. Basically, it was kind of like wall-to-wall jokes and one-liners. Mm-hmm. Not really any story much, just non-stop. And it just, it was just kind of annoying.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See, if you weren't the sort of person whose opinions I always respect, I would be, like, ripping into you right now. But, no, look, that's fine. I
understand why you like it, because it's that kind of chaotic character energy.
Yes.
It's like Harley Quinn or like Margot Robbie in Babylon. Like it's just those kind of characters that I find quite annoying at times. Yeah. And you're like, they're the best person ever.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
So I wasn't looking forward to the second one because I'd had people tell me that it's more of the same. So I was like, oh God. But luckily, the second one is way better than the first one. It has a lot more story. There's still a lot of jokes and one-liners, but it's not nothing but. There's some cool characters. Josh Brolin's good. It's like he's in a different movie though. Yeah. Not in a bad way, but he's just like full-on acting.
Yeah. True.
I did like the joke about him being so dark. He should be in the DC.
Yeah. Oh, and also the bit where Deadpool actually refers to him as Thanos. I thought that was just... Oh my God. It doesn't get more meta than that,
Yeah. I do like the opening credits on both movies.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't have names. It just has descriptions. Yeah. Like the second one's directed by one of the guys who killed John Wick's dog.
That's what I mean. The third one didn't have any.
And the opening, like there's that big opening scene before the credits happen. So then it's like in association with, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's just like lines because they've just, I don't know. Is not a spoiler? It's so weird to talk about this. Surely everyone's seen Deadpool.
Look, it's from 6 years ago. So, yeah, come on. Just out with it.
Yeah, so they killed her, was she girlfriend, wife, whatever. I don't know if they got married yet.
They hadn't.
But they kill her off in the opening. So then, the credits are like, what the fuck? Did she just die? What's going on?
Exactly. That was for me, though. That was a gripe that I had from 6 years ago when I first saw it, because Wade and Vanessa are arguably my most favorite on-screen couple of all time. Like that whole relationship in the first one, and especially like
it was very much a too good to be true, like most perfect relationship you could ever have kind of thing.
Shut up. I have one of those. But like the seasonal montage and everything, I just thought, that was just brilliant. I love those two so much. And then, so of course, in the second one, where she gets killed, and then she's sort of, she's in the film here and there throughout it. But I was like, man, this isn't what I signed on for. Like, it actually kind of broke my heart a little.
Oh, I didn't feel like there was enough to really get connected.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And look, maybe it's because Marina Baccarin is a good friend of mine. We go way back to that time at Supernova where I got her autograph just dressed as Jason Voorhees and stayed in character the entire time. So I didn't actually say a word to her, but she thought I was really creepy. So as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty much a solid friendship. Yeah. Anyway, but no,
And what's funny too, I was gonna, like, after I watched the first one and didn't really like it, I was like, well, I'll continue on to the second one because, I'll just give it a go and watch it. And if nothing else, it's a tick off my Bill Skarsgård filmography.
yeah.
And he's so hot in this movie. It's just, slicked back hair, bad tattoos, just dressed in those crazy boots and stuff. So yeah, that was really fun. And yeah, the whole skydiving scene with the team,
so good. So good.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Especially when you find out who the Vanisher is.
Yeah.
But okay, we're going into spoiler territory for this film. So Brad Pitt has like a 2
I already knew that because I'd looked at the cast list. And I was like,
okay.
Oh, Brad Pitt's the Vanisher. And then I forgot. So then when it showed him, I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, that's the reason why Ryan Reynolds was in Bullet Train, because it was the same director. And so because Brad Pitt had been in that film, Ryan Reynolds agreed to be in Bullet Train, in a brief cameo. So, so that was the whole link there with Bullet Train. But Deadpool, because that was actually one of the films that I have watched this week as well, leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine, because Kylie hadn't seen them, and so we're like, we've got to show you these films before you see Deadpool and Wolverine. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's part of me is like, yes, Deadpool 2 is a better film, but then part of me is like, I don't know, just that first one, the origin story and everything, like, it's... Yeah, maybe I would put them both on par with it. I don't know.
I haven't rated it yet, but I'm probably gonna rate the second one as like 2 times better.
Wow.
The first one I gave 2 stars.
oh boy.
The second one I'm kind of leaning towards 4 because it was really fun.
Well, I gave the first one 5 and the second one 4.5. So, and did you love the end sequence of Deadpool 2, like where Ryan Reynolds is reading the Green Lantern script and Deadpool kills him off? And do you see what I mean now? How glad are you that you watched X-Men Origins Wolverine so you can understand the whole thing with the other Deadpool and stuff in there? I will say there was a major spoiler for another film somewhere in Deadpool 2, but if you don't know what you're looking at, you probably won't pick it up as a spoiler, and so I wasn't actually going to say anything, but yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. But one day you're going to watch another film and you're going to be like, oh, that's what that was.
Okay.
I know I'm being very vague, but I'm doing that intentionally because... Yeah,
but we'll see if whenever I get to whatever film that is, if I still remember Deadpool 2 enough for that specific thing to know that it relates to the other.
Well, I will talk to you about it after you've seen this other film.
Okay.
And yeah. But I'm very curious as to what you're going to think of Deadpool and Wolverine now, because it does ease up on the...
Well, I'm curious because...
dick jokes.
When people, well, like you loved the first one and weren't so into that. And so I'm like, well, so far I kind of, well, not with the second film, but with the first film we're kind of opposite. So I'm like, maybe that means I will like it more.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, I love Wolverine, but I still don't... I'm torn now because the second one I liked so much because I wasn't sure if I wanted to pay money to go see the new one at the cinema or just wait for it to turn up on streaming. And now I'm not sure, but we'll see because I've got to see Trap still. And Alien's out next week.
Yes, it is. Yes, the 15th.
And Strange Darling's out, I think, the week after that. So, yeah, we'll see if I make it to that.
Yes, no, I have tickets booked for a screening for Alien Romulus next Wednesday night. So, oh my God, I'm so looking forward to this film.
Well, it's Eka Day next week, so that gives me another day off work.
Right.
So
cool.
I may go to the cinema because it's not a holiday here officially for this region. It's different days of the week. Wednesday in Brisbane City, so there shouldn't be any surcharges or anything at the cinema. Hopefully.
Yeah, right. But speaking of horror films, another film that I rewatched for the God knows how many times the other day was Hostel. Speaking of Eli Roth earlier, because Kylie had it on while she was feeding one of the kids, and I sat down, and I was actually only going to just watch a little bit of it and then go and get back to work or whatever. But I'm sitting there and just, oh man, I don't know. It's one of those films that you just can't leave. I freaking love that movie so much. You've seen Hostel?
No.
You haven't seen Hostel?
I'm not big on the like torture porn films.
Yeah, but
never got around to it.
There's so much more to this film though than just torture porn. You know what I mean? The fact that they actually filmed it in Eastern Europe just gave it such an insanely creepy vibe. All of the secondary characters in the film, you know, like just about everybody in, you know, I don't know, where was it, Czechoslovakia or wherever it was, everyone just looks really disturbing, you know, because they actually cast, you know, locals in this thing, and like, yeah, everyone just looked really messed up. And it's a really, really brutally dark, twisted, scary story, you know. It's and it's that kind of horror though that, yeah, it's not things jumping out or jump scares or whatever. It's that creep factor, you know. And also not only that, the fact that this shit actually happens, you know, because I mean this whole film was actually made because Quentin Tarantino and Eli Roth were in a pool chatting one day, and Eli was talking about how he read an article about this thing in Europe where people go missing and people can pay to, you know, torture and murder them and stuff. And Tarantino was like, oh my God, you need to make a movie about that. And so that's basically how it came about. And yeah, no, it is a really, really cool movie. There were a couple of things that just sort of held it back from being a 5-star film for me personally. There was a couple of moments that just felt a little bit unrealistic. Like, I can say it without context, it won't be a spoiler, but like there's a bit where there's 3 people standing in a street and someone in a car like is sort of stopped and is looking at them and then goes to run them over, and like, you know, he sort of takes off and goes, and you know, there's this, it's almost comedic the way the car like hits them. One person rolls on the car, the other 2 kind of roll to the sides and stuff, and they're dead. It's like the car wasn't going that fast, and it's not really that wide that it could do that much damage. So, you know, it was sort of, and I know it's kind of, you might say it's nitpicking, but if you actually watched that scene, you'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe that is a little bit comedic. Like, you could almost add a 10-pin bowling sound to it, and it would actually just make that moment perfect.
Car scenes, though, are often like that in films. It's like, you know, people are being chased by a car, so they just go running straight in front of it instead of jumping off to the side and all that stuff. So they're quite often kind of lose some of the tension because you're distracted by things like that.
I think, look, if the car had actually been like going at full speed and hit the 3 people, that might have been more believable. But the fact that the driver had stopped and saw the people and then, like, you know, sped up, but there was only like, I don't know, 20
they didn't
meters or something.
Have enough money to hire like full-on stunt people to be able to do it at high speed.
Don't know. That was a bit weird. But no, look, overall, I would strongly recommend you check the film out. Yes, there are some moments in it that are absolutely like really make you flinch at the excessive violence, but like I said, it's not all about that. It's not, I mean, like the Saw films, for instance, I think rely more on the violence because, of course, the traps became what those movies were all about, you know, whereas this movie has more of a story to tell and sort of like better characters and stuff like that, and themes. I know some people will just love the themes in this film because it's full of themes. And some people love that stuff. So, yeah. That is all I've watched that was outside of homework films. Do you have anything else?
I watched one more last night. I came across this German comedy called How About Adolf? And it's...
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Okay, Ava.
No,
how was that film?
actually, I just wanted some German films because I'd heard the hockey team yelling to each other on the pitch, so I was just like, yeah, I miss hearing German. It's been a while since I've watched a German film, so I just went onto Letterboxd and filtered by German film streaming, and came across this one which had good reviews and it sounded funny. So there's a couple having a dinner party and they've got a family friend coming and the wife's brother with his pregnant girlfriend. And so the brother turns up and announces that they're going to call their baby Adolf. And it just kind of sets off like this whole thing with, everyone freaking out, and then other stuff starts coming out, and it's this big thing. And there's some really funny moments in it. It was really fun. And there's actually a sequel and a third movie, like there's a listing for a third movie coming. So
goodness me.
So that one's on Tubi and the sequel is not. So I'll have to find that one day. But yeah, it was really funny. So
are you noticing a theme running through this podcast so far?
Like, yeah, well, you brought it up. I just had this one movie.
Yeah, sure you did. But what is that like though when you're watching hockey? Because all right, let's face it, and no offense to the Germans, because I've been to Germany. It's a lovely place, and German people are wonderful people. But let's face it, the language is so abrasive. So how does that sound when they're all yelling at each other on the pitch?
I like the sound of the German language.
Really?
And I know everyone's like, French is so romantic. And I'm like, when you're speaking French, it sounds like you need to clear your throat. So, everyone has their own, it's like music. Everyone has their own things of what they like the sound of.
Wow, that's deep. Because for me, like even if someone is just talking to you in German at a normal level, it sounds like you're in trouble or something, like you're being yelled at for something you didn't do.
Not to me.
Oh, okay, no, that's fair enough.
I mean, I agree it's a harsher sounding language than other languages, but I don't feel that.
Yeah, no, well, that's good. And again, no offense to German people. Like you're all wonderful people. Please keep listening to the pod. I don't even know was Germany one of the countries that we had listeners in. I can't quite remember, but anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, cool. Well, that just about wraps up. We've done Nobbins, we've done Nazi Germany, we've done movies that we've been watching, we've done hockey. I think it might be time to delve into our main films, of which the first one was it was a favourite to one of us. But anyway, we are about to discuss Idle Hands. Okay, so now this is a movie that I chose because oh my god, I love this movie more than I love my own children. No, I don't. I love this movie more than I love a lot of things, and you were kind of like, I don't really remember it, but let's give it a go. That sounds about right. I'm like getting it right. Yep, cool. So this movie is a horror comedy from 1999. Stars a whole bunch of amazing people: Devon Sawa, Seth Green, Jessica Alba is in it, Vivica A. Fox. We got heaps of cool people. And it's essentially about a high school loser stoner kid who essentially his hand becomes possessed. It's just that simple. Meanwhile we've got a character who's sort of a descendant of these ancient druids whose job it is to hunt this ancient evil, who's on the trail of the evil hand possessing thing, who wants to try and stop it. And so, there's just a whole bunch of misadventures with this kid and his hand, which I know that sounds all sorts of wrong, but that's the sort of movie we've got here. I saw this movie back when it was on in the cinemas, and I think I can't remember if I was actually still working in cinemas at that point. I do remember seeing it quite a few times, though, because this is just one of those movies for me personally. It's a comfort film, you know what I mean? I could watch this movie every day for an entire month and I would never get sick of it. I don't know. The characters are just so freaking cool. Seth Green, I think, was... I mean, he's just at his peak at this point. You know, this was, I think, just after Can't Hardly Wait. And yeah, he was just absolutely hilarious in that role. The director, Rodman Flender, he has... he's done some weird films. I think the only one I've seen was Leprechaun 2. But yeah, he's done a whole bunch of films that no one's ever heard of. So, yeah. But anyway, I thought what he brought to it was great. It just has such a quirkiness to it. Like, there are some moments in this film that are just so over the top silly and stuff. But yeah, it was my kind of silly. But you didn't like it quite as much as I did, though, did you?
No, well, I don't remember when I saw this. I don't know that if it was at the cinema or not. Obviously, Devon Sawa is a draw card in the 90s for me because, you know, I was a girl then and we all fell for him after watching Casper. So, you know, that kicked off the teen heartthrob times.
You still are a girl. We'll just sort of mention that as well now, just so people, you know, don't think other things. Yeah. Well, you said you were a girl then, so...
Yeah,
you know,
because...
What are you now, an Algerian boxer?
An
adult controversial comment. Yeah, anyway. Please continue.
Yeah, but I have this on DVD, a double feature with Urban Legend.
Nice.
So another great 90s film. And yeah, I started watching it and the opening scene is great with the parents. But then I just was worried because the start is kind of boring and not really that much. And I was like, oh, did I make a mistake with this? Because I couldn't remember how much I liked it. But yeah, it does get better as it goes along. So, and by the end, like the last act or so, is really entertaining. So
oh, hell yeah.
It all turned out right in the end. But yeah the first while...
Oh, wow. See, I was the opposite. I love the whole opening. Like, I love the whole gag of, you know, I'm under the bed, you know, like how that pays off.
No, I said the opening was good with the parents. When you're just following him after that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm taking that into account as far as like the opening of the beginning of the film.
Yeah, but I said the opening was really good, but then it gets boring for the first part. After the opening.
See, I didn't find it was boring. I thought there were enough jokes and stuff in there that I thought it was very entertaining. I especially love when you find out that his parents have been dead for like 2 days and he doesn't even notice. I mean, that was amazing. But yeah, then, you know, with the very first time you see it, there is that kind of whole element of like, oh, so who's doing the murders? Like, what's actually going on until you find out. Which I guess there might be some stuff to talk about in the spoiler section for this film. But no, I just thought, like I said, there were just so many little things. Like, I love the fact that every time you see Jack Noseworthy's character, whose name is Randy,
who looks like 90s John Bon Jovi.
I'm watching, I'm thinking to myself, man, we're going to have to talk about the Bon Jovi
the exact hairstyle.
Exactly. And the facial structure and everything.
Yeah,
like, he looks so much like JBJ.
I know, it was so great. Do you know what's really weird?
What's that?
I looked him up afterwards because I always forget. And then I was like, oh yeah, Event Horizon. Yeah. And when we were talking about Event Horizon, you said, oh, hey, he had that part in Encino Man. But when I was reading about him, he was the guy in the Always music video.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's like a hot guy from way back. And so it's just really funny that he looks like John Bon Jovi and he was in the Always music video.
Well, there you go. That's crazy. Well, he's also gay, so you can't have him. But
well, I mean, it's not like that would happen anyway.
Hey, he might be listening to this. You never know. But no, I absolutely love the recurring gag about how every time his pickup truck is, you know, moving, so like "Shout at the Devil" by Motley Crue is playing, the only song that he's ever playing in that truck.
I was like, did they use all the money on the rights?
I don't think so. I think that was just a running
joke?
gag. Yeah, like, and it works for me. I just thought that every time that song comes up when you hear his truck approaching or whatever, it's just like, it just suits his character so much.
That was a really big truck too.
It was, yeah. No, I love all sorts of things, like, I guess it was sort of a cameo. It was a sort of an extended cameo by The Offspring. Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 was also in it as the drive-through employee at the burger place. There was like a whole bunch of little cameos and stuff in it, but I just the tone of this film I just think is perfect. I love how some of the scenes are just drenched in colored lights. It just like, it looks really over the top, but I don't know. Visually, I thought it really worked. And speaking of over the top, the performances in this film were just so hilariously over the top, especially the bit where Randy and Debbie, played by Vivica A. Fox, are at a bar, a bowling alley, talking to each other. Like, she's doing the whole exposition about the ancient evil and everything, and like, just the way that they're talking to each other is just so over the top, and everything. And like, I love that stuff, if it's done right. I just think that is amazing. And
well, if it fits the tone of the movie, so it's not like out of place or anything.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the whole plot of the movie is over the top and ridiculous. So,
exactly.
You can run with those kinds of things.
Yeah. No, for me, it was a funny as hell, colourful film. It's still, after all these years, it still cracks me up laughing. Like, there are so many. One of my favourite bits is, at the start when, when he sort of thinks that there's someone in the house with him and all that sort of stuff. And also, FYI, so Devon Sawa's character, Anton, was actually named after Anton LaVey, who founded the Church of Satan. So we get to bring that back into this episode as well. But no, the bit where he thinks there's something in the house and everything, and he's hiding around a corner, and he like pushes the dog out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, that is just such a visually hilarious moment. And for me, the film was just full of things like that. And
the 90s references, referencing Baywatch for the CPR and ER for, what was the ER thing?
I can't remember, but I know it was in there somewhere.
But I'm like, two of the best shows of the 90s.
I love that, the bit where Mick, played by Seth Green, when they're like, it's like, okay, quick, call 911. He's like, okay, what's the number? Just stupid shit like that,
That's how panic gets to you.
Yeah, exactly.
His character was really good. It was good to, like, the two guys offset each other, where Seth Green was like come on, we got to do stuff, we got to get stuff done, and the other guy's just like, hey, I'm going to go dance with this girl.
Yeah, exactly. Again, silly. And the whole thing at the end with the puppet and everything was just stupidly silly, but again, it suits the movie. This is, like I said, this is a case of the tone was ridiculous, but it worked and it maintained it all the way through.
It would be hard to do this kind of movie without that tone, like doing it serious, because it's such a ridiculous plot.
Yeah. Well, I was reading apparently Seth Green went on record as saying that everybody had a different idea of what the film was going to be like. I think that he and Eldon Henson, who played Penub, they were under the impression that it was going to be a more serious horror comedy sort of a film, whereas then the director had this, other idea, and then Devon Sawa thought it was going to be something else, and like they all thought it was going to be something different. So that was kind of interesting. Do you know where the names Mick and Penub came from?
No.
So I always just thought this was a really funny bit of trivia. Apparently there was a Saturday Night Live sketch where Eddie Murphy played like a redneck hick sort of a character who was trying to sing the song Looking for Love. You know, that looking for love in all the wrong places. But the way he was singing it with these big teeth and everything was kind of looking for love in all the wrong places. And so when the writer was naming the characters, he heard that and he was like, Mick and Penub. Like, so that is actually where Mick and Penub came from, was from that Eddie Murphy sketch where he was singing Looking for Love. So, yeah, there you go. Bit of trivia. I've had that nestled in my brain since the late 90s, so everyone needs to know that now. But yeah, no, I really... I'm just looking on Letterboxd right now, and our good friend Fraser Jubb has this on his wants to watch list, so hopefully this is going to inspire him, and he's going to watch the movie now. So, hello, Fraser. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that one. Is that all you had to say about that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair enough. All right.
I've got one thing for the spoiler section.
Okay, cool. Well, we will keep that under our hot little belts and wait till we get to that section. What are we going to talk about next? Your movie or my movie? Because, of course, this is time now for Hit or Shit, where we have chosen 2 films featuring the incomparable, the amazing, the intensifying Ben Foster, who is just one of the most underrated, brilliant actors of our time. We have each chosen a movie that neither of us have seen. I reckon we should go with yours because I picked the main movie, so I think we should talk about Contraband. What do you reckon?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay,
so you chose Contraband, which was, yes, a film that neither of us have seen. I'll just read out the Letterboxd synopsis. What would you hide to protect your family? When his brother-in-law runs afoul of a drug lord, family man Chris Faraday turns to a skill he abandoned long ago, smuggling, to repay the debt. But the job goes wrong and Faraday finds himself wanted by cops, crooks and killers alike. And so this is a film that, aside from featuring Ben Foster, you got Mark Wahlberg, you got Kate Beckinsale, Giovanni Ribisi, Lucas Haas, J.K. Simmons was in this thing, Diego Luna. There were so many great actors in it. And not only that, did you recognize the director? Or his name, at least. Which is Baltasar Kormaker.
Yes, I know that name.
Of course you do, because he was in our first Hit or Shit. He directed Everest.
Oh, yes.
But he also directed the movie Adrift, which I talked about in the last episode. So I am suddenly on this big Baltasar Kormaker thing at the moment. Yeah, which was kind of bizarre. But anyway. All right, so what are your thoughts? I mean, this was one that you picked, so what do you think of this?
Well, for all the action and everything going on in this film, it was kind of not as interesting as I expected. Mm-hmm. Well, not expected, but thought that it might be. And with some really cool actors, J.K. Simmons didn't have much to do.
That's true.
So, yeah, I don't know. And it was very far-fetched.
Yeah. yeah, that is true. I've actually just only noticed for the first time that you and I both gave it the exact same rating on Letterboxd, which was 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, it was fine to watch, but it wasn't... I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah, same. That's exactly what I said to Kylie. She liked it more than I did, which is great. But yeah, I watched it. There were a few moments because I was watching it very late at night after not much sleep, and I was even struggling to stay awake through a few scenes. But yeah, I just kind of felt like I've seen it all before. It did not do anything new or different. Like you said, it's fine while it's on. I mean, look, if you're a massive fan of any of the actors involved, Mark Wahlberg or Kate Beckinsale or anyone, by all means, check it out. It's not a bad film. It's just not a particularly good film as far as I was concerned.
And for watching specifically for Ben Foster, his compared to other things that I've seen of him, he, it wasn't a standout role for him.
Yeah, that is true. I thought he was rather underused. And Yeah, there's obviously there is definitely one big sort of plot point that I'm going to talk about in the spoiler section because it annoyed the crap out of me. Because I kind of wish that they had gone a different direction with it.
Yeah, I might be thinking the same.
Really? This is going to be interesting. Because at first I was like, oh my god, they actually did this thing with a certain character. I was like, wow, that's a bold move. And then, okay, yep, I know that you and I are thinking of the exact same thing. Yeah, I don't know, like the performances were fine, you know.
Yeah, Diego Luna was fun being the crazy bad guy.
Yeah. But yeah, it was more convoluted than I thought it should have been as well.
Yeah.
Like there was just too many scenes that they kind of packed in. And I was like, why are they doing this now? Like, you know, we're sort of steered from the main plot. We're into this territory now, and do we really need to be doing that? Like, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't really say it's either hit or shit, really. Like, it's very...
If I had to pick one, though, it's shit because it's only average. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't... I mean, I could watch it again, but I wouldn't, like, choose to watch it again. But I wouldn't hate to see it if it was on. And
well, that's the thing. Like, if you were sitting in a room full of friends and everyone was like, oh my god, we're going to watch Contraband tonight and everything, like, you wouldn't exactly be like, oh, wait a minute, I just realised they've left the toaster on or something and I've got to get going. Like, you know, yeah, I could sit through it again, but yeah, like, kind of reluctantly. Yeah, no, wow, you and I are so in the same ballpark with this one. So yeah, and I was quite surprised that it was from the director of Everest because...
Yeah, it's so average I can't even think of many things to talk about from it besides that one thing that's a spoiler. So
like you said, there's action scenes in it. Some of them kind of adhere into a overall plot, but so look, I wouldn't really recommend it as such. Like I said, if you're a massive Mark Wahlberg fan and you've seen every movie that he's ever been in except this one, then absolutely, you know, crack it open, chalk it up to the list, but yeah, just don't expect too much, that's all. Yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that one. How about you?
Yeah.
So moving on to the film that I chose, which was Alpha Dog from 2006. Now this is going to be interesting because I think you and I have got rather different opinions of this one, but anyway, so this film has been on my radar for a really long time, mainly because the cast in this is phenomenal. So it's based on a true story. One crime, 38 witnesses, no way back. Johnny Truelove likes to see himself as tough. He's the son of an underworld figure and a drug dealer. Johnny also likes to get tough when things don't go his way. When Jake Mazursky fails to pay up for Johnny, things get worse for the Mazursky family as Johnny and his gang kidnap Jake's 15-year-old brother and holds him hostage. Problem now is what to do with Stolen Boy. That actually sounds like a comedy, doesn't it? What do we do with Stolen Boy? Yeah, so this is, like I said, it's based on a true story. This actually happened, which is really interesting. Because, look, I actually rated this 2.5, the same as Contraband. I thought this film was kind of forgettable in a way. Especially after I've been wanting to see it for so freaking long, but that was mainly because there was a scene in it where Olivia Wilde gets naked, but that's beside the point. But so no, the cast in this thing was Emile Hirsch, Bruce Willis, Amanda Seyfried, Amanda Seafood, I'm calling her that. Justin Timberlake, Ben Foster, of course, Harry Dean Stanton. There are just tons of people. Even Amber frickin' Heard pops up in the scene. And what? And of course Anton Yelchin. It was the Stolen Boy. just keep thinking of that. It's so weird. So yeah, like the cast is absolutely phenomenal. Lucas Haas was also in this one as well as Contraband, which was interesting. Although he's only in this for like 10 seconds. But all right, so tell me your thoughts on this film because
Well, I didn't know this film. I only heard about it recently
right.
because I was listening to a podcast talking about 310 to Yuma, and they mentioned this and another film I've forgotten as the three sort of Ben Foster bad guy, crazy kind of characters. So I was looking forward to that, and I mean that pays off. Like you can see Ben Foster in this, and I hadn't I kind of looked at it when you picked it, but I'd forgotten completely what it was about,
Right.
except something to do with a guy and a brother. So I actually didn't know it was a true story until, they kept popping names and witness numbers up on screen, and that made me realize that. But I don't know, I just thought, well, Ben Foster was amazing.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah.
He just went mental in some scenes and had the thing I was talking about that I messaged you about. When he has a run-in with Johnny when he can't pay, and then Johnny puts a belt round his neck and smashes him through a glass coffee table.
And then he flips out of it?
Yeah, and so he's laying on his back with his legs over the frame of the table, and then he just leaps up to standing to attack him from being on the ground.
The whole time I'm watching this film, I'm like, so what's Ben Foster going to do? Because, yeah, you messaged me and you said that he does something incredible physically, and I'm like, okay, this is intriguing. So I'm watching this film and I'm like, was that it? No, that wasn't that great. But my brain is anticipating things. Like there's a moment where he's walking up to get in his car and I'm like, oh, is he going to slide across the bonnet? Or is he just going to jump in through the window?
It's a really sudden scene too, because it's the first big kind of violent
But so my
thing.
brain is putting these phantom scenarios in that I'm kind of waiting to see, and I'm like, no, that wasn't it. But then of course, he gets slammed through the coffee table and he just boings back out. Now clearly this dude has martial arts training, because in every scene that he's fighting and no, sorry, no, I'm thinking of Anton Yelchin. Whoops. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Anyway, we'll discuss that later.
Ben Foster's got fighting skills.
He did.
Later on, he goes into the party when he's searching and takes out a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. But no, I'm getting mixed up. There was a scene where Anton Yelchin, his character says he's got a black belt in Taekwondo,
and then
Justin Timberlake tests him, but his moves, I was just like, holy shit! This dude has he's clearly got training. But no, I think I thought that about Ben Foster as well. So yeah, maybe I'm not getting mixed up. I don't know.
But he was amazing. Emil Hirsch is a beautiful man. So every time he was on screen, I was just like, oh, such a beautiful face. And Justin Timberlake surprised me. That was a really good performance.
Yeah. He was really, really good.
I don't know. I didn't think the film was really amazing, but it was good enough that I was pretty into it, especially as the tension builds over time about what's going to happen to Stolen Boy.
Yeah, well, see, I mean, the thing is, because I had read up on the actual event, so
why'd you do that?
Because I was interested.
But why not do it after the movie?
Well, because it's a thing
that's usually you watch the movie, you find out about it, and then you go look up the real thing to get more info and updates, which is what I did, because when the movie came out, some stuff hadn't been finalized.
I don't know. I kind of think if a movie's based on a historical event, that it's kind of I don't know. Anyway, shut up.
Well, I had the tension because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that scene, the climax towards the end, I still really kind of felt something in it, which we will, of course, talk later. But overall, I think for me, and Kylie was the same, we just sort of thought, and I can't criticize the writing of the film because this happened, but just sort of, I felt no sort of stakes, because okay, this dude was kidnapped, but they're just taking him to house parties and they're just getting stoned with him, and he's having a three-way with Amanda Seafood and Amber Heard in a pool and like, you know, living the dream and stuff. And it's like, that's a kidnapping? Like, really? And again, I know that's how it happened.
Well,
but
I mean, yeah, but that's the whole thing is it was just kind of a spur of the moment thing, and then they had to figure out what to do. But then, you know, yeah, there was the whole, like they started saying, you know, well, we can't just let him go because he'll tell everyone and then we'll get in trouble.
Well,
so
that's the thing for me as well.
do?
They said they were going to get life in prison, you know, and I'm like, but hey, but you didn't do anything to him. Like, you just brought him to parties and stuff. Like, you know, really life in prison for that? Like, I don't know. So there were a whole bunch of things there that just didn't click with me to make it feel like, you know, holy shit, like, you know, they've got this kid captive and, you know, what could go wrong and stuff. It was just kind of like, you know, I don't know, we're just sort of following this group of characters along as they're whooping it up and having parties and, you know, stuff. Like, I don't know, it just didn't really grab me the way that...
Yeah, I still think you maybe ruined it a bit for yourself.
Well, no, I'm not talking about knowing the outcome. I'm just talking about, like, yeah, there just didn't seem like there was enough dramatic tension. And I know, like, all the families were sort of getting together and, like, you know, where's the kid and all this sort of stuff, but I just didn't buy it, you know what I mean? I just wasn't sort of like, oh shit, I hope you get your son back, like, as I probably should have been feeling. I was sort of more like, well, just give him a break, you know, he's having fun out there. Like, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going to do that if your kids just disappear and don't come home for days?
If I knew that they were, like, having a fun time.
But they didn't know that he was having a fun time.
Yeah, but I knew. But, well, see, this is what I mean. Like, as an audience member, as an outsider looking in, you know, because I knew what was going on, like, no, that's not a fair question.
I knew that they, you know, he was just having a good time and whatever, because, you know, he like was running away at the time, so he wasn't overly concerned. But it's knowing that, you know, if he tried to leave, that they weren't going to let him, and what were they going to do with him eventually?
Yeah. See, your question wasn't fair. Like, okay, yeah, as a parent, if my son went missing, like, yeah, absolutely, I would be really, like, horrified. But then I put it back on you. If you knew that my son was just being well looked after and having three-ways in pools and all that sort of stuff and everything, you wouldn't feel the tension that I was feeling, would you?
Well, see, but it's not just that, though. I mean, I don't have to feel like the parents because it's still different. Because obviously, if I didn't know anything that was going on, then what's the movie? Because, you know, there's nothing happening except parents freaking out.
Yeah.
But it's knowing that, you know, they've been asked to hold him there, so he might be having a good time, but they're not going to let him go. So what's going to happen? Are they going to change their minds and let him go and do whatever? Or, you know, are they going to, like, not let him go? So...
Because there's even, you know, there were a couple of scenes where Justin Timberlake's character, like, gives him the option, you know, he's like, go, just, like, you should go. Like, you really should go because these people want to do bad things to you. And yeah, he's all like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to watch Austin Powers, you know?
Yeah, because he's kind of a dick and
yeah,
doesn't care that his parents have no idea where he is.
Yeah, see, but that's what I mean. Like, all of these things just kind of, you know. But that being said, I mean, we were here for Ben Foster, and oh my freaking God, he delivered. His character in this, I mean, yeah, he plays a neo-Nazi who's, like, covered in... Here we come back to Nazism. Oh my God! This episode is sponsored to you by Nazi Germany. No, so yeah, he's like a neo-Nazi covered in swastika tattoos, and like his bedroom or whatever has got this gigantic mural of Nazi Germany and all this sort of stuff. And he was just a terrifying character, and yeah, the way that he played him with that ferocious intensity.
Yeah, oh like God, after that first run-in with Johnny with the coffee table thing, when they're like, because, you know, he tries to kill Johnny and then everyone comes and breaks it up, and then he's just like, ain't no turning back now. And I was like, oh, here we go, you know. And then he gets in trouble at his work and he's like going nuts at his boss. And it's so funny because the boss kicks him out of the office and he opens the door again just to say, I will take you down to hell with me. And it's those kind of scenes that I'm like, man, can you just imagine that? He's like hyping himself up for the director to call action and then just doing this like full on thing. And then I'm like, I wonder how many takes they did.
And I wonder if that was improvised even. Like, yeah, who knows? But when you think about it, like, okay, we've had two... I mean, we weren't too far apart. Like, I gave it 2.5, you gave it 3.5. But, man, we've had quite the conversation about this film, though.
No, it is that kind of film. Like, yeah, that's what I meant with Contraband. Because I watched this first, and then I watched Contraband. And that maybe added, because I felt like this, especially with Ben Foster's character, like, gave it so much energy.
Yeah.
And then Contraband was an action film, but it felt like it had less energy than this film.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, out of the two of them, I would definitely recommend Alpha Dog. I thought Alpha Dog had interesting scenes, you know, like throughout the film, there were a lot of interesting scenes, but yeah, just overall, it just didn't gel for me. Interestingly, the director of this film was the guy who did The Notebook. So yeah, that was quite a different, leap from one to the other. But anyway, but yeah, look, okay. So you're giving this one being hit or shit. You're leaning towards hit with this one.
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle as well because I wouldn't add it to my collection and I probably wouldn't watch it again. Though I wouldn't hate to watch it again, mainly because watching Ben Foster go nuts is fun and Emile Hirsch's face is pretty. So, you know, I could watch it again.
And Naked
Olivia
Wilde.
I mean, it wouldn't have as much impact because I know now how like the story goes. But, you know, I wouldn't hate to watch it again. And I'd rather watch this again than Contraband.
Oh, yeah. No, I completely agree. Out of the two.
So, yeah, definitely more of a hit.
Yeah. I mean, when I gave this 2.5, like if this is sort of a more watchable 2.5 than Contraband's 2.5, if that makes any sense. Yeah, look, I would recommend this film, like, because I kind of feel that other people would enjoy it more than I did, you know. So
and don't read about the story first, so you can just go in like I did, not knowing like what was going to happen and where it was going to go. Because yeah, all I remembered was it was something to do with a guy and his brother somehow.
Yeah, but when you saw Titanic, you knew the boat was going to sink. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but that's kind of different.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So anyway, oh wow, this chair goes back. I just noticed. Oh, actually, sorry. Just I'm kind of interjecting here, but like I've actually just found the handle that makes the back of this chair go back a bit more, and I've been actually wanting that to happen, and I didn't know where the handle was. So there's just a little aside from. You know, it's a bit of a trajectory going somewhere else for the people who love that sort of stuff. I will say though, what's his name? Sean Hatosi, who played Elvis in Alpha Dog. I'm sitting there the whole time and I'm just like, oh my God, where do I know him from? And I knew it was from a movie that...
I didn't look that up.
Well,
yeah, he looked familiar to me.
Yeah, I knew it was from a movie that I really liked, and but in my brain I couldn't figure it out. And it was The Faculty by Robert Rodriguez. He played, one of the characters in that film. And yeah, that was where I remembered him from. So, yeah.
It's just probably where I know him from too.
Quite possibly so, because, I don't think there were too many other...
I mean, I've seen Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah, a long time ago. Oh, no, actually, this was Bad Lieutenant Port of Call.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, right.
I just didn't say the full title.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, the only other film of his that I think I've seen was John Q. Because I haven't seen Public Enemies yet. I've actually owned it on DVD. I've owned it for so long, it was before Blu-rays actually came out. That's how long I've owned it for.
Yeah, I have a few DVDs like that on my shelf.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really should maybe make a little project to watch the DVDs that have been on my shelf the longest.
Yeah. But anyway. All right. Well, is that everything non-spoiler that you wanted to discuss about that film?
I think so. Oh, there was some nice music in the movie. Just I noticed in a few scenes, like where someone was just driving somewhere or whatever, there was some good music playing. I tried to look it up, but
Oh, okay.
it's so hard to figure out the soundtrack of this movie. There's a
Yeah,
whole lot
right.
of songs and there's different people's names that I tried searching and whatever. So I'm just gonna let it go. But yeah, it was probably just a little like 30-second thing they composed for the film anyway. But
Okay.
yeah, there was some good stuff there.
Right, right. Cool. All right. Well, that concludes our homework films for this fortnight. All right. So I'm really happy about your choice for our next main homework film because not only is it a film that I've been dying to watch again, because to be honest, as much as I love the film, and I know this is going to sound weird to you, but I have not actually rewatched it since seeing it at the cinemas.
Wow.
I know I bought the Blu-ray the day it came out, and I sat down and I watched a bunch of the special features and all that sort of stuff. I just haven't gotten around to actually rewatching the film. But I kind of felt like I didn't need to because it still lives in my brain. You know, it's still like I remember it so freaking well. But yeah, this is a film that you and I went to not only the premiere, but we actually paid to go and see it again, and that is Last Night in Soho, which, yeah.
Surprise of the year for me.
Oh, yeah.
Is I know when you asked me to go, this was like the second time we met in person. So you asked me to go to it, and I was like, oh, I don't know, do I want to? Because, still in the awkward stage of not really knowing you. So
you're still in that stage, trust me.
Okay. Not that, yeah, anyway. And so all I knew was it was Edgar Wright and it was a horror film, and that's kind of all I knew. So I was just like, okay, well, those two things, I should go see it. And yeah, and then I ended up completely loving it. It was one of my favorites of the year. It's on my all-time favorites list. It's one of those made-for-me movies. There's so many elements to it that I love, mainly the 60s connection.
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah, Edgar Wright is one of my most beloved directors of all time, and so when I heard about this film, I was like, oh my god, this sounds amazing, but I didn't expect it was going to be that level of amazing. I think you appreciated it even more than I did. I mean, yeah, you bought merch and all sorts of stuff. You were borderline obsessed with this film.
I bought poster hand signed by the artist.
Yep.
Because he had some prints going at his store, so I did that. And yeah, I've got Blu-rays. I've got both the soundtrack and the score on vinyl. So yeah, I got all the things.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. I loved how much you enjoyed the film. That was such a good thing to watch, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into a big old conversation about that one with you. All right. Well, we're back to our regular sort of a format now, where we've got 3 films lined up for each other with reviews to read, and we get to pick a movie. And look, if you guys follow our podcast, you know the drill. You know how it goes. Who's going first?
I mean, I did mine in like 5 seconds because I forgot until we started recording that I had to do that. So I just had to scramble and find reviews. So
yeah. Well, I did mine not long before. So look, you go first.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. This one was really hard to find one for, so it's really terrible. The silliest movie I've ever seen, and yet I've never been more scared in my life.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Next one, original sci-fi horror film that takes its inspiration from Cronenberg, both father and son, and Lynch, but still retains its own vision and execution. It's filled with surreal nightmare sequences, which results in a creepy atmosphere.
Okay, first one's still winning.
Or, this one, there's 2 I've put together. If you took the best parts of Superbad and Zombieland and made them kiss, you'd get this masterpiece. a fun, hilarious horror comedy featuring zombie cats and one scene that was really gross involving a trampoline. Never seen that in a zombie film before.
Why on earth would you, like, all this time I've been like, oh, how am I going to get past number one? And then you put in zombie cats. Oh my God. Oh, this is really tough. Is out of 1 and 3, is there a particular one you'd want me to see more than the other? No?
No, I kind of...
Look,
both of them, I think, have potential for you to love. So.
With all due respect to the zombie cats, I'm going with the first one because I don't know, there was just something about that appealed to me. What was it, silliest movie ever? But I was scared to death or whatever it was.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll be watching Deadstream.
What? I've never even heard of it. What the hell is?
Yes, you have.
Yes,
because I've told you about it before.
Ah.
It's been likened to Evil Dead.
Oh, okay.
It's a YouTuber who got disgraced and he's trying to have a comeback, so he's going to spend the night in this supposedly haunted place.
Yes. My apologies. The title didn't click to me. Cool. Okay, no, that does sound good. I think I chose well. Can I ask what the third one was, or do you want to save it for another time?
Well, no, because
that's cool.
I've done this one a couple of times before. I'm just waiting for you to pick it. Now I'm going to have to find another review later on.
Oh, damn it. No, just recycle that one, because honestly, the cats really intrigued me. All right. I've also done... So for the first film that I've got lined up for you, I've also got 2 reviews that I'm putting together. The first one says, I love this movie, but I liked it better before it became a documentary. And the second for that same film, endlessly entertaining and quotable. A pleasure to be able to show this off to my friends. Brought to you by Carl's Jr. So that's the first one.
I don't get it.
Sorry?
I don't get it.
Well, that's because it's vague and obscure and you won't get it unless you know what the film is. But
okay.
Yeah. But I thought I liked it better before it became a documentary might have been, and endlessly entertaining and quotable. Like, these are things to sell you. You're like, ooh. Anyway.
Okay, but then you put in some Carl's Jr. whatever thing, and I'm just like, should I know what that is?
That part will make sense if you've seen the film. Yeah. So, yeah, just shush. The second one, one of Polanski's masterpieces, even if not praised as often as Rosemary's Baby or Chinatown. It's as dark, grim, and violent as can be. Film directed by someone whose loved one was recently slaughtered by the Manson family. And then the third film, man, this flick's a blast. Had no idea what I was in for when I started it up, but found myself on a gritty crime ride with a stellar cast and some excellent storytelling. So...
Well, you made it easy because I'm going to go with the known one and pick the Polanski film.
Ooh, okay. You are going to be watching 1971's Macbeth.
I just recently purchased that.
Brilliant.
Because the Umbrella were having a sale, and I was like, oh, it's a Polanski film. I'll grab that.
Okay, so... Oh, man... Yeah, this film disturbs me on such a profound level. They showed it to us in, I think it was year 11 or 9, I don't know what it was, in high school English class. And I know we were supposed to be watching it because it was Macbeth, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, why are they showing us this disturbing, chilling, brutal horror film? And it got to me. It really got under my skin as a high school kid, and I never forgot about it. And then so I believe I bought it on VHS when, before DVDs came out, and then I upgraded it to DVD because, yeah, it is so fucking dark. And it was because Polanski used it as a catharsis because Sharon Tate and his 8.5-month-old child had just been stabbed to death by the Manson family, and you can tell, he puts all of this, pain and anguish and aggression into this film, and yeah.
So is it spoken like Shakespeare?
It is, yeah.
Wow, this is going to be a very intellectual film for our podcast.
Funnily enough, it's actually very easy to follow. I don't know. It's yeah. I never had a even as a high school kid. Like I never had a problem understanding.
Well,
it.
yeah, I know I had to do Shakespeare at school, of course, every year,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just a weird choice
Oh man, no, I
to
am
discuss.
so happy you picked this film. No, it is one of my most favorite disturbing films of all
Well,
time.
let's hope it doesn't feel like homework,
No, it won't.
like Shakespeare did at high school.
Yeah, no, it won't. I promise you. I promise. It is, in terms of horror film, and it is a horror film as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it is really dark and disturbing, and I hope you love it as much as I do. I haven't actually
I was
seen
going
it
to
in a very
say,
long
it's a bit
time.
sad I didn't get to watch that when I did Macbeth at high school, but it's actually probably good because I probably would have tainted it if I had to watch it at school and study it.
Well, yeah, like I said, for me, watching it in high school, I was more like, oh my God, we're watching a horror movie in class. This is amazing. I wasn't like sort of focused on the Shakespeare angle. I was more focused on.
Oh, well, I would have been because we would have had to write stuff about it and have discussions and do all that kind of stuff.
Look, I can't remember. All I remember is, and
Yeah,
like,
but you're good with words. I'm sure you were fine with writing stuff.
but no, I can even tell you exactly. Like, I could draw you a map of the classroom and point exactly where I was sitting when we were and where the TV was and everything. It hit me that hard that I visually remember where I was sitting and what the room looked like and everything. It was, oh man, yeah, I can't wait to get stuck back into this film. So, yay! I'm so glad you picked that one. Cool. All right. Well, so there you go. Wow, actually, no, it's kind of our lineup for next fortnight. Last Night in Soho, Deadstream, Macbeth. Like, they've all kind of got like a,
If you'd
weird
picked the other
horror.
film, it would have made for a very interesting mix of
Oh,
films.
really? No, that's cool. So, yeah. All
It
right.
was much more a comedy side of horror comedy, whereas
Mm-hmm.
Deadstream's a bit like it's funny, but it's not like super comedy
Right,
horror.
right,
It's
right.
more,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. All right. So, there you go. So, this is the.
Horror episode next week.
Yeah, so this is the
Next
part where,
time.
for everyone who doesn't want to hear spoilers for the 3 films that we discussed before, we are going to love you and leave you. We will hopefully see you next time for Last Night in Soho, Deadstream, and Macbeth, and hopefully a lot less Nazi content because, that just came from out of nowhere in this episode, and that's just how we roll. So, get over it. All right. So, for all of you who are leaving us now, stay safe, watch lots of movies, and we'll catch you next time. And for everyone else who doesn't mind a spoiler or two, let's go. Okie dokie. So, idle hands. I mean, there are a few things that we could talk about. I mean, we never mentioned the fact that he actually cuts his own hand off. But like that scene was amazing. I love so much. I even quoted it as he was saying it, like when Seth Green's got the electric knife and he's like, look at me, I'm Leatherface. I love that so much. But yeah, like that whole meat cleaver thing and everything was insane. But then, Seth Green cauterizing the wound was just, oh my God, that's the ER thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, I've seen it on ER. Like, yeah, that was it. No, I loved that. But yeah, like the whole ending scene was just, so apparently Rodman Flender wanted the whole thing about how weed saves the day, and Seth Green and Ellen Henson were like, really? Like, is that the sort of movie we're doing? And so they didn't even quite realize how over the top that end was going to be, where the hand winds up inside this creepy looking puppet, and like how its face
that
changes
was
and everything.
such a ridiculous
It was,
thing.
but I don't know. I still kind of thought it
it's a
suited
hand.
the film. Like, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about a film where a hand is running around on its own accord and can somehow trap an entire, gymnasium full of students at a school dance by itself. Like, I mean, yeah, there are so many silly things in this film. I did love, though, how Dexter Holland from The Offspring ends up getting scalped. I thought that was really cool. I actually thought a lot of the horror effects, actually that was something I could have mentioned before, were really good. Like the horror makeup and everything, especially Seth
I like
Green with his bottle.
Yeah, the scene where the girl gets taken out by the fan.
Yeah.
And then the two guys are coming around and they realize, and Seth Green's like, yeah, I can't go through this. We got to go back the other way. And then the other
Yeah.
guy's sad because he, that was the girl he was dancing with and everything. And then Seth Green's like, we can go back if you want a piece of that.
Yeah, you can still get a piece. That was so fucking great. Yeah, but no, I also love the little subtle sound effect of the liquid in Seth Green's bottle. So of course, I really love the fact that Mick and Penub get killed and then just like come back, and I love the reasoning behind that. They just couldn't be fucked walking all that distance to heaven, so they're just like, nah, we'll come back. I mean, that was so hilariously funny. But yeah, if you sort of listen closely, like, so Seth Green winds up getting a broken bottle impaled in his forehead, which is what kills him. But so he's still got this bottle, but it sort of makes this little subtle sloshing sound every time he moves his head. And I can imagine the ADR department must have loved doing the sound effects for that on the side. That would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, so yeah, no, I thought like yeah, those were just other things that endeared the film to me. Okay, so Contraband, did we? Oh yes, of course. So the thing that we were Kate Beckinsale,
Yeah, the wife got killed
except she
until
didn't.
she wasn't.
I love so much that you and I had the exact same thing. Because, yeah, like, so there's that scene where Ben Foster's character is, like, getting a bit too hands-on and stuff, which, I mean, it's Kate Beckinsale, as if you wouldn't. And she locks herself in a bathroom. He kicks the door in, which she's a bit too close to, so that sends her slamming back. She bashes her head against the corner of a, like, sink, and she's down. And so... Oh, okay. And so, well, a very large sink. And so, yeah, and you're like, oh my God, they actually killed her off. And we were obviously thinking the same thing. Like, wow, that is a really bold move. Like, and this is going to make Marky Mark just, really feel it. And so, yeah, it looks like she's dead. Like, Foster's character wraps her up in plastic, takes her out to the construction site. He's going to, like, bury her in concrete.
No,
but then before
he
that...
even takes her.
Yeah, you
once
see the
he's
finger
got the
twitch.
plastic on her, yeah, she does the twitch, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah. And then...
But it's also a thing I hate in movies of, like, someone gets knocked out like that, and the person doesn't check if they're actually dead and just assumes they are.
Well, he did, though. He felt her pulse and stuff, so I don't know. But then I also can't...
I know he kind of leaned over in that, but I guess if he didn't do it for long enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then I also can't...
He was drunk, I guess.
Yeah, true. I can't
and
really...
on drugs.
I can't really buy, though... So at the end, Marky Mark goes to the construction site and he's trying to call his wife's phone and stuff, and, like, you've got a cement mixer, which is a really loud machine, pouring concrete in and everything, and then you hear someone off screen go, oh, did someone lose their phone or something like that? It's like, would they really have heard the phone down, all the way down there, probably inside her clothes, wrapped in plastic, concrete being poured in, like, and then, everyone's quiet, and then, like, Marky Mark hears the phone ringing, and it's like, oh, come on. I couldn't buy that for a second. I thought that was way too
does
unrealistic.
No one, like, check where they're going to pour the concrete to make sure everything's all good to go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that whole thing I thought sucked.
I mean, that's kind of that movie.
Yeah, but they should have killed her off.
Things.
They really should have. They should have been bold enough to actually follow through with that, because... Yeah, I thought that was a very...
happens so often in films, which is why when you get those rare ones that they actually do something, then, like, it's just kind of a good feeling, because you're like, wow, they went there, like, they could go anywhere, and then it becomes really, like, exciting because you don't know what's going to happen when they could do anything.
I completely agree. It raises the stakes. It actually makes things... Yeah, like the dramatic tension and everything becomes increased and stuff. So, yeah, but anyway. But speaking of people getting killed off, Alpha Dog. So, yeah, as we were saying before, so the scene where Anton Yelchin's character, whose name I've already forgotten, Zach, that's it, not Stolen Boy. So yeah, when they take Zach out to, and from what I've read, this was very faithful to how it happened. So yeah, they lead him up to like a sort of a desert hill sort of a thing to whack him. I was about to say to whack him off, but that's a whole different thing. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, and then one of the characters has a change of heart, like hugs him and goes away, and that's when he sort of starts thinking, "Oh my god, hey, wait a minute, what are you guys about to do?" And they're like, "No, there's people who are gonna pick you up. Like, just keep walking." And yeah, you really feel for the poor kid. And then yeah, the whole tying up with tape and whacking him on the back of the head with a shovel and then shooting him 9 times, that was actually how it went down. But yeah, like I did feel something in that scene. I mean, there was a lot of dramatic tension in that one, I thought. But yeah, there was nothing else in the film that kind of made me feel anything quite like that. But yeah. But I did also find it was very interesting, though, that Johnny Truelove, or whatever the guy's name in real life, I think it was Hollywood something or other, how yeah, they didn't actually find him for like, what was it, 4 or 5 years? 5 years was it? I think how he'd fled the country and everything, and then eventually, they caught up with him. Like, I thought that was quite interesting that yeah, he almost got away with it. But yeah,
I thought it was interesting that Ben Foster's character just kind of dropped out.
Yes. That's exactly what we thought.
I was expecting more to happen when it's like they've got his brother, he's gonna go and like fuck everyone up and do something, and instead the mother just mentions that he didn't come to the funeral.
Yeah.
And like that's all we get.
Exactly. And yeah, we were the same. We're like, man, like for a character that great who's, just stealing every scene, and then you just forget about him, like, huh? That was kind of
and
weird.
that phone call he has with Johnny.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so that was, a bit iffy, but anyway. I think that was all the spoilers I had to talk about for that one. Did I mention the threesome in the pool with Amanda Seafood and Amber Heard? Did I mention that? Yeah. Did I mention Olivia Wilde naked? Yeah, okay. Well, that's all I've got.
Amanda Seyfried is so much hotter than Amber Heard. I didn't realise that was Amber Heard. I just realised afterwards when I checked who she played, and I was like, oh, well, if you got to pick between those two, Amanda Seyfried's prettier.
I'm #Team Amber.
Of course you are.
Yes. Why do you say that?
Because you have messed up opinions on faces.
I know, and I'm about to have another one because, look, okay, no, I'm torn with Amanda Seafood. I've seen pictures of her sometimes where she...
I'm talking about in this movie.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about her in general. Like, sometimes I just kind of feel like... Because she's got these really droopy eyes and stuff, and she kind of looks a little bit... but then, like, in that pool scene, like, I thought, she actually looked really pretty. Like, and I really did feel that kind of, sexual chemistry between them and stuff. Like... I thought that whole Marco Polo thing was actually a really cool idea. And yeah, I go back and forth with Seafood. There are times I'm like, ew, but then I'm like, oh no, actually she looks really nice, but oh no. So yeah, she's kind of a mixed bag of Seafood for me. She's a fisherman's basket, if you will. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not like full on Sydney Sweeney, blah, Kaylee Cuoco, blah, like, no, I'm not with her. I'm kind of like, yeah, blah, but hang on a second, whereas Amber Heard's just freaking hot. So yeah, there you go. Controversial opinion, I know, but anyway, yeah. So that's all I got for spoilers.
Oh, what a depressing way to finish the episode.
Well, it's better than another discussion about Nazi Germany when you think about it.
Why do you keep bringing that up?
I don't know. I'm just on a roll now. Like, it's...
People are going to get the wrong idea.
They really are, yeah. Oh, well. No, I think, look, if anybody knows us well enough by now, like, the for our regulars, Kylie, Nobbins, Fraser Job, they know who we are. Yeah. Kylie's not even, she's like so far behind. She's like, she sort of feels like she needs to listen to every single episode, like, because, she's going to miss out on something. But yeah, which is pretty cute. But anyway, yeah. All right. Well, what do you say? We get out of here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything you want to say to our adoring fans who love you and stuff? No? You got nothing? I just thought I'd check, okay? Like, I know you always lost for words because you have that much love in your heart for everybody who listens to us that you just don't know where to begin. But I just thought I'd check, okay? So, yeah. On behalf of Frankie and myself, thank you everyone for listening. Yes, stay safe. Watch lots of movies. We'll catch you next time for Last Night in Soho, Deadstream, and Macbeth. Bye for now.